Welcome, everyone. This is the Degenerate Diaries, and I have my first guest here, good friend of mine, David Mock, a local from the area. Welcome, Dave.
How we doing?
Yeah, we got a local legend here, so I'm very happy to have you as my first guest, man. It's great. I know. I I don't want to disrespect you, but like when I came up with this show idea, I was like, the first guy I want to have on here is Dave.
It's funny you say that. It's so funny you say that because I feel a little upset right now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's a good thing. I'm glad you thought of me because the title of the podcaster of the diaries is me. So it's sad. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So why don't you tell the people who you are? I know who you are, obviously, but you got to tell everyone else who you are.
yeah. I mean, I'm Dave. I've been a dealer, a poker dealer and poker player in the Mass, New Hampshire area since 2006. So it's been a while, pretty much 14 years. So I basically grew up in the
Wow.
scene around here. So like I know like everyone from the jump, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I've also been like involved obviously with like sports stuff and even now like I'm involved with DraftKings, so I'm involved with like legal sports stuff, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Um, but yeah, so I just been playing poker full time for the last like I want to say 4 years. I just started at DraftKings recently, just to like change the pace, but I'm still playing poker. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
you've had a lot of success doing that. I mean, I'm gonna open up the doors here for you to just brag. So, I mean, like, what's been your biggest score? What's
I mean, so like frankly, I appreciate all the love locally that I get. It's really nice. It feels good. In the grand scheme of things, I'm just a middle class citizen, obviously, when it comes to poker. Um,
So
there's
is
guys,
sort of
there's
like 95% of poker players. So.
yeah, right. Right. But locally, it's nice to get love from all the people that grew up supporting me and stuff. Um, I had a couple good years. The first year, half year to start, like I did well playing tournaments. And then the second year I did really reasonably well. I think I cashed for like a little over 300K for the year. Um,
Nice.
so it was a good year. And then last year did not go well. I
Yeah.
I think I didn't play as much last year as I did the year before. I think not having success early on like kind of like gets to you mentally,
Mm-hmm.
and it made me. It didn't make me do anything, but I ended up making some poor decisions along with that, right? Like not able to I wasn't riding the wave as they say like on the kind of downswing. I kind of made some poor decisions that led me to where I'm at now, which is also leading me to the story I'm going to share with you soon.
Oh man, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So yeah,
Thanks.
I've kind of gone over what the show is. You're on here to tell a story. I don't know the story. I don't know if it's got a happy ending, a sad ending. Um, no, don't make that face. Um, but yeah, why don't you go ahead and get into your story? I'm curious to hear it. I know you got a lot of them, but
Yeah, so last year, like I said, 2018 was really good.
hmm.
I ended up having a lot of fifth places, which is weird. So like that means you're profitable, obviously, because fifth is good in
Oh
these big
yeah,
tournaments. I hit one for 100,000, and then a bunch of like 20s and a couple 30s here. So it was a good year, right?
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, if you turn any of those fifths to first, it makes it like a great year, and so on and so forth. So I was riding high going into 2019. Started the year off cashing the 25K, so
Yeah,
felt good.
thank you for that.
Yep, everyone
I
got.
had a little piece.
There
I,
you
I
go.
was I was pretty happy about that.
Um, so I decided I was gonna ramp it up for the WSOP
hmm.
and go from like two. I went 3 years in a row. I went and played like pretty good schedules, and each year like my schedule almost doubled in terms of volume and
Oh wow.
buy-ins.
Okay.
Not only because I just felt more confident in my game and all that other stuff. I also like when you're doing well, like the more people are interested in buying pieces, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I wanted a piece.
yeah, and that's just how it goes. So I sold like it was about like 100K package. Um,
Okay.
planning on playing 100K worth of tournaments. And
You played $100,000 worth of poker tournaments this summer at the World Series.
That was the plan.
Okay, that was the plan. Okay.
Which obviously leads us to some other stuff. So with that being said, the schedule is you're obviously overdoing it though, because you can't play like every day, right? Because if you make day twos, you don't use as many bullets, all that other stuff, right? So really,
right.
Realistically, you're going to use 70% of that at best, and then there's also cashes. So your exposure, like if you were investing, if you invested 10% for 10K, your exposure really wasn't the whole 10K. It was really more like 5K.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I go to Vegas, I have this money, a portion of it's mine, obviously, because I just sold. I didn't like get fully staked.
Yeah. So I guess explain a little bit of the selling, just in case someone's watching and they're like, wait, what do you mean you sold? You played $100,000 worth of buy-ins, but people, bought pieces or.
Yeah. So the buy-ins, so really it was like 80K with the buy-ins, and then when you add the markup, it would end up being like, actually now that I think about it, was like 120K.
Okay.
So, but the actual buying amount was like somewhere in 75 to 80,000.
So people were buying like a percentage of those buy-ins in hopes to get a return on your winnings, right?
Yeah, you're right. Because the year before, people basically doubled their money with me the summer prior.
That's awesome.
And
yeah.
The year before that, they more than doubled their money. Though those buy-in levels were much smaller, And then this year, people, losing because I didn't have a successful summer. Not crazy amounts, like.
Yeah, but it happens to every poker player. I mean, a lot of people go to the World Series during the summer and just lose their shirt. And it happens to players that are,
10 times better than me. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
So here's where the craziness happens. So I get there, and I'm in a group chat with a few guys that they're doing well off. They're kind of bigger name guys in poker, and they're successful at poker, they're successful in businesses and everything else. So they have a piece of a 25K fantasy team, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with. Is the teams draft poker players as a fantasy team for the World Series of Poker.
Oh, right. I heard about this. So it's kind of like, if you were to relate it to like, let's say fantasy football, right? It's kind of like you're drafting poker players and, they have like the entire month, like if they get like.
They accrue points based off their finishes.
Yes. Okay. So it's like fantasy football, but for poker players.
Correct. So for the World Series of Poker. And so I'm part of a team. I decided to pitch in money for that team. So that, that wasn't crazy amount. I had like maybe 5 or 10% of the team. So like I had 10% of the team for 2,500, right? It wasn't like a crazy thing, right?
Okay, 2,500.
But here's what happens is that a lot of the people make side bets with other players, other people that own teams. So I had 10% of our team for 2,500. I made a 10K side bet against Daniel Negreanu's team that whoever's finishes higher would win 10K.
Okay, so 12,000. I'm just doing the math in my head. Okay.
Yeah. Then I had another side bet with David Baker for, I think that was like 2 or 3K. Then I had another side bet with Anthony Alberto for a few thousand as well. So against all these different teams, I have all these side bets going on.
So you had almost $20,000 in action in this fantasy poker league.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Which I have obviously no control over how the teams go. I'm not one of the players being drafted. It's a lot of mixed game players that are being drafted that playing 10K events plus. So
okay,
just,
so yeah,
just straight up gambling to some.
It's just like straight up like So that's quite a lot. So that's 20% of your roll.
Yeah. So first off, I want to be clear about something. So I had money, and then I have the money for the poker tournaments.
Right. Okay.
So the thing is that personally, I had about, let's call it 70.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 20 of it is allocated to that stuff when I really needed about 40 for the poker, my part of the poker.
Okay.
So, at best I have like 30 left at best.
Okay.
So then I decide that, the Stanley Cup playoffs is going on. So I'm playing poker first couple of weeks. The fantasy team is, so early to tell, but it's doing fine. We're ahead of Daniel's team, which is where my bigger bet was.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Cup playoffs going on, and as you know, the Bruins were in it.
Yeah.
I'm playing tournaments. It's not going super well yet, but it's still early. And I decide that I'm going to make a very, very large bet on the Bruins to win the Cup.
How large?
So I decided to put all of the money I had on the Bruins to win the Cup.
Oh my god! All the money. So all the leftover money. So you put like what, 30?
So I put about 60 on it when I only had like 30, because I was being in the industry for so long.
$60,000.
Yeah, my credit is good with people, so I had a lot of credit based. I also was, and with that 30, I was betting at the window, and knowing like you're if you're a bad sports bettor like I am, you end up betting big on every game that they lose and betting small on every game that they win. So that kept happening to me, and then so I have a huge sum on the series itself. It's like 60 to win like 40 something, right? With a few different people, or because they're the favorite. And then I have 20s like allocated to the other stuff. Not allocated, like I used it, even though you know what I mean? Then I'm supposed to have all this extra money for the poker stuff, but it's getting close because I'm spending money at the window and I'm losing it. And I know I'm going to owe this money when this thing's over. So it's like things are getting tight. It's game 6 now, and they're playing on the road, and they're like plus 110 or 120 on the road. And I go to I've just lost a bunch on all the other games because I kept hitting the wrong side. And I go to put 10K, like I'm playing a mixed event, and I go on break to go up to the Rio window to go put 10K on it with like 5 minutes to go before it starts. And they took so long, I didn't get the bet in, and they ended up winning. So like that bet
heartbreak. And you were at the window. Here's $10,000. Please put my bet in 5 minutes before the game. And they were like, oh, like our system's down, or like we couldn't get in, sorry.
Yeah. So it's really upset. It's like that's, if you've ever, that was the worst experience I've had in sports betting. And like, because when you lose, like you get used to losing money, and obviously that's what makes you a degen. Like it's bad that you're so okay with losing money.
Yeah.
But not winning when you're supposed to win hurts even more.
Right. This isn't just a thought in your head that like, oh, I think it would be good if I put 10K on the Bruins. You actually physically walked to the window and were at the window trying to pay for this bet, and they couldn't book it in time.
Yeah. It was really, really frustrating. When I lost like all the bets prior to that point, like the ones I lost were all like 5 or 6K, and the ones I won were all like 2K. So I was losing, but I wasn't like super smoked. I think I was down like betting individually, maybe like 6 or 7K, right? So I would have got it all back on this one win. Instead, I miss it. So now it's game 7 and it's back at home. I'm playing the 3K 6 max and I'm doing really well. I double down on the Bruins, put on the game as well, and obviously they lose.
Yeah, of course you get to the window in plenty of time. You learned your lesson, right? You learned your lesson.
And now Bruins lost, so I lost 60 there. I lost money betting the series. I put another 10 on the game, lost that. I'm at my seat with a really big stack on the 6 max, and obviously that messes me up, so I dust that. And this is like a tough tournament. The 3K 6 max is a very tough tournament.
I know.
So I was like crushing it too. So I lost that. I go home and I'm just like defeated. Like I barely have enough cash to finish all the tournaments for the investors, like barely. And in reality, I don't have enough because I owe other people a bunch of money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, oh shit. And that's not even including if I lost the fantasy bets.
So at this point, you're in the hole pretty deep. And how is the fantasy poker going at this point?
So we're not doing great, like overall. Like I'm not gonna like make money on the $2,500 investment, but we're still ahead of Daniel at this point and David.
Mm-hmm.
David's team is like doing better. David's gonna beat us, but it was small. So like all I really need to do is beat Daniel, and I still make money. More important, I don't lose the 20. You know.
Mm-hmm. So you're still neck and neck. You're in the hunt for
yeah,
that
we're in the
stuff.
hunt. And then like it's like a week before the main, and
the World Series, like the one that people watch on TV.
Yeah, the big main event.
Yeah,
and the ground use team has two guys go 1 and 2 in a 10K like stud 8 event or something, like Hastings and Shulman. And they just take a commanding lead on me, and I'm just like dust.
Yeah.
I'm just dust. So I go from having like a decent sized personal bankroll, a full roll for the series, to like being in the negative, not even having enough to finish out everything, like scrambling to try to figure out what to do at the end. I take $500 and I play craps one night, and I spun it to 50K.
What?
Yeah, I went on a sick like heater at this craps table at the Rio, and like just spun it up to 50K somehow. Like
you were just $500, and
it was crazy. So that got me, like that money obviously like was the money like I used to finish up the series and like, you know, have finish out all the tournaments I needed to play. I was still, and then I paid back, like I lost to Daniel, so we had to pay Daniel, we had to pay everyone else, and like I came back still in the hole like a good chunk in like this August whenever I got home, but it wasn't nearly as bad because I, you know, luckily won that 50.
How long, you know, you put $500 on the table? I don't play in the pit, so my pit experience is quite limited. So like from putting $500 on the table, how long did it take you to win 50,000?
One person rolled for about an hour, and because I play so aggressively early on, I typically lose 500 very quickly, or if someone goes on a sick run, I'm gonna make like a huge number. Now, like 50 is crazy, right? Like it's it's just crazy. But like the person rolling just like kept hitting a 9 that I ended up getting maxed out very quickly at 5K. So it just pays you, you know, 7K every time, and it just started adding up, you know. Then like all the numbers had a lot. When I crapped out, I had 20,000 on the table. So I could have just picked up with 70, you know what I mean? But you can't pick up money when they're going that.
Right. When it's hitting that. So like how long did that take for like
just an hour?
An hour?
Yeah.
Wow. So literally
so that really saved me. Like, you know, like
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like these numbers are like a little off, obviously, because like I don't know what happened. I was just firing the game. I don't know if I lost 50, 60, or 70. I'm not sure. I was firing at the window, so I'm not sure exactly how much I like physically ended up losing, but I knew it was a big chunk at the window. I lost everything on the fantasy bets, and I didn't win in poker. So like in my head going in, I was like, I'm gonna take a shot this summer, but my money is like spread apart. So like if at least one thing goes well, I'll be okay. Like if just the Bruins win, I'll be okay. If just the fantasy stuff wins and I win 20 and I have 40, like I'll be okay. Or like, because in my head I was like, I can come back. If I come back with like 40K back, bro, like I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? I'm fine.
Right. Oh yeah.
All right. But then I end up just losing every single aspect of everything, and I'm in the hole like a big number, and I have to come back and like just try to grind it all back.
That's so insane. So you literally went from like I might not have kneecaps like in a couple of months because I owe all these people to like in an hour, like, okay, at least I'm like in a manageable spot.
Yeah. So, like there's good and bad news, right? Like it's good that I was able to like have enough just to like satisfy like some of the stuff, right? Like it wasn't like crazy, but at the same time, like these people like love giving me the credit because, you know, there's a lot of DJs out there, especially in the world of poker. I happen to be an honorable DJ, which means I'll never screw anybody. You know what I mean? I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
I
like
would,
people
I
love
would,
giving someone like me credit because they're like, it doesn't matter if you lose it, he's gonna pay it no matter what eventually.
right, right.
So like you got to be careful in these situations. And I've learned that obviously the hard way. But yeah, it was just a crazy summer. I just lost everything. I made millions of poor decisions.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing whispers of this crazy craps win, but I didn't hear any of the other.
I've been pretty straight up honest about it with like everybody because like
yeah,
I think lying about stuff like this or trying to like ski your way around it or screw people over is just really bad. Like I own it. I went for it, and I think like a lineman told me something that like was really hit me hard. Actually, bad was like, you know, I roughly had 70 to 80K to my name. Like doubling that, betting the sports and stuff, and like doing stuff, doubling that to like 160 does not really change my life, right?
right,
Like
right.
there's no big difference between 80 and 160 when you're talking about your bankroll.
No, no. I mean, like you're not. Yeah, you're not riding around in a nicer car. You're not buying a house. Like
No,
you know,
nothing
it's just
changes.
yeah.
You're just, you know, you're a little bit ahead, but
You're more
nothing changes.
comfortable.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but when you go from 80 to 0, or in my case, 80 to somehow negative whatever it was, 30, 40, like after everything was said and done, like that is detrimental. And that put me where I'm at now to like just grinding my balls off, playing, dealing, working jobs, doing a bunch of stuff, doing what I gotta do, making right by everybody. But
Yeah.
I learned that lesson like the hard way, obviously, is just like, you know, being at zero, like I have to change my definition of what zero is, essentially.
What do you mean by that?
So like I used to be like, I'm like, because I'm someone like I work pretty hard and like no matter what I'm doing, and like so I'm okay with like losing all the money because I know I can get it back. Because I will work hard to get it back.
I have the same exact mentality. I think a lot of people like myself and like you that are, you know, honorable in this community have kind of that mentality of like, if I lose it, I'm just gonna get it back. I'm gonna work hard to get it back, but I'm gonna get it back.
Like I don't mind like working 3 jobs to get it back, or like hustling here, doing that, whatever it takes. Like I'll do all that. But like, why am I in the position that I have to do this? You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, furthermore, I should have this mentality when I still have 100K. So that turns 100 into 200 the right way. You know what I mean?
Right.
But of only having this mentality when I have 0, and then when I start having money again, lose that hustle and lose that drive, which is what happened to me.
I see. Man, that's a pretty sobering story. That's exactly.
Still fighting back. You know, a few months later, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, we just heard a great podcast from Olivier Bousquet and JC Alvarado about, you know, JC Alvarado's taking a job now because he you know, got screwed over and, you know, played some kind of shady games where he may have gotten cheated, like just like crazy stuff. So I mean, it's good to hear kind of the side of the world instead of just, you know, going on, you know, WSOP.com or WPT.com and seeing people hoist the trophy because, you know, it's not all a fairy tale.
It's definitely not. And like, I think my story is probably more common than like the guy like Alti, who's just like a front runner and crushing, and he's a great guy. And like, I think like I'm probably more the average gambler who's just like, he's been betting sports, doing dumb things his whole life. And it's like, I don't like every time, you know, you almost get ahead, you set yourself back by making a stupid decision. So I'm 31 now. I think like, I'd like to think that like that's past me now because I've never had a setback like this one. So, but that was a crazy summer.
Yeah, I mean, you learn from experience, right?
Yeah,
some people I certainly do.
A lot of people have told, like, you know, people will tell you like, you know, don't do this, don't do that, like, because they've been there. But like sometimes you just have to get smacked in the face, right in the forehead, and
right until you feel like the dagger in your chest. Like you're not gonna, you know, just you're not gonna learn your lesson. Like, I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. That's a great story, and you know, exactly what I wanted to have on the show. It worked out. And I know you have more stories for me.
I
Like
do.
like I know when I asked you
Sadly.
about this, you were like, man, where do I start? But we're gonna save that for another time.
No worries, man. That was my big one. So we'll lead off with that. But obviously, I got a million of these stories I can tell you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you want to shout anyone out? You want to shout yourself out, like promote anything, or?
Listen, use DraftKings to bet legally when it's legal in Massachusetts. It's already legal in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Always don't bet with credit. Put money
Bet
you can
with
risk.
credit. Okay.
Don't do anything with credit. Credit gets you in trouble. If you want to bet sports because you're gonna do it anyways, just give the money up front and play within your means. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Someone taught me that a long time ago, and I never listened until now. So, but yeah, no real shout outs. Just everyone do the right thing at the end of the day when no one's watching.
Yeah, man. That's it takes a big person to come out and like tell that kind of story. People always want to talk about their wins. They never want to talk about their losses or times they were really down in the dumps like that. And you're someone with that always has a smile on their face. And we hung out a few times last summer, and I never knew the negative aspects of your story from the summer. I thought you were doing okay, and I heard about the crap story, but I totally didn't know how screwed you were until that big hit. So
yeah, I mean that's the pro and con for me is like I'm cool, like I try to stay level, like never get too high, never get too low. But like sometimes like I need to let the low hit me so I can realize how bad it can get. But instead, like my body's just like, oh, no big deal.
Yeah.
So I tried to really like for this one, like finally, I tried to really, really like think about it and really take it to heart. Like this, the money that I lost, like it takes a long time to earn that money for a lot of people. And it's just really disrespectful to like, lots of people that I know that like work really hard to make, $50K a year when I'm just like dusting it for no reason.
So. Yeah. It can when you're living that kind of lifestyle, it can be kind of hard to pull back and be like, wait, I just lost a car.
Yeah.
Like I just lost like groceries for 6 months, like in one roll or one pot. Like it's
So I'm still playing. You guys will see me around. I'm still doing my thing, but Team DraftKings now.
Yeah. I think that's a great move for you. Honestly, I told you this when you took the job. I thought it was an awesome move for you.
Yeah, getting a paycheck is pretty cool. It's been a while.
Yeah. Definitely, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and being my first guest. You're definitely going to be on again. But yeah, thanks so much for being on the Degenerate Diaries. It's been great, man. Thank you.
No problem, man. Just have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man. You too.